in the holler where the river's been, where the mountains whisper and the night never ends. I grew up in the shadow of a southern sky, with dirt on my hands and a dream in my eye. The winds may blow and the storms may roll, but the heart of the holler's what keeps me whole.
Hey everybody, hey, welcome to West Virginia Wire. We're going to be covering a lot of things today. Enjoy the music for just a moment while I continue to get things set up. Make sure we're streaming across all locations. We are streaming across the X platform, formerly known as Twitter, you guys. We are streaming across YouTube, Facebook, now known as Meta, as well as Rumble. You guys, let's do this. Hang tight.
From the capital to the county line, we're keeping it local, keeping it fine. West Virginia Wire every week. Let's talk the truth, let's hear you speak. From the coalfields to the rolling hills, we've got the facts and the local thrills. What's on your mind, what's making news? Tune in, get the updates you choose. West Virginia Wire, hear the news. Politics and stories, what's shaping you? From the capital to the county line, we're keeping it local, keeping it prime. West Virginia Wire every week. Let's talk the truth, let's hear you speak. Let's hear you speak. It's your state, your voice, your view. Regina's here to bring it to you. The stories that matter from old to new. West Virginia Wire, yeah, it's for you. West Virginia Wire, hear the news. Hear the news. Politics and stories. What's shaping you? What's shaping you? From the capital to the county line, we're keeping it local, keeping it prime.
All right, guys. Sorry, I didn't mean to blow you guys out there. So, hey, let's do this. Turn the music down just a little bit. So I'm doing kind of a testing phase here. You guys, will keep the music going softly in the background for you. So if you see the medley, the montage, the collage of stuff up on the screen, those are the things that we are currently working on. You guys, we started this podcast over a year ago on my father's birthday, February 2nd, 2024. And we started with the Bible. We started with our Job journey. Since I have taken it all down, but don't worry, we'll be covering it again as we are currently in faithful footsteps of the Old Testament trail. You guys, hubby and I got 5 weeks done for you. We started out in Genesis as we are doing this as it happened chronologically. So we started out in the book of Genesis, then we stopped at the Enoch reference and decided we'd pick up the non-canonical book to the Christian Holy Bible, the book of Enoch, you guys. And let me tell you, I will say it is a mind bender. So we thought it was good to go twice a week. So every Wednesday and Sunday morning, we release out around 9 to 10 a.m. We're trying to lock down the time. So we launch it out every Wednesday and Sunday. We're going to be picking back up on Easter Sunday, you guys, and we'll be picking back up in the book of Genesis right around the time of the flood. All right, you guys, I am behind the camera today. So let's get into the next topic. So as a division of West Virginia Wire, we have rebranded. It's the name we're keeping. We live in West Virginia, the mountains of Boone County, the hollers of Boone County, West Virginia, and we couldn't be more proud. You guys, there's so many things that's going on, so much I'm so excited to tell you about. But the first thing I wanted to get to is I have found a new addiction, you guys. It's called editing. So I've been begging to intern for people to, work with their material, work with them, work with producing, directing, editing, being, a part of a team. And I am proud to announce that I have gotten that opportunity. I want to do a huge shout out to Mix Texan Report. You guys, I'll be showing you more of his stuff later on in the broadcast. But for right now, let's get to BOBEANA'S Book Nook. You guys, I thank you all for joining. Please drop your comments, what you'd like to hear, what books you'd like to hear read, and I'll show you a little taste of what we've been working on. So the first thing I want to show you is a teaser that's already up. It's a note to readers, which Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard, we are working on the Killing series. So they have about 10, 11, maybe more books in that series. Fantastic series. So we started out with Killing Jesus, Killing Kennedy, and Killing Lincoln, not necessarily in that order. So I'm reviving that series. I started Killing Jesus out on my voice recorder app, and I had found the book. We were in transition, in process of buying this home, and man, it was a mess, and things were going crazy. We were in a corporate apartment, and I used to take our 7-year-old to the pool, and I happened to find this book, Killing Jesus by Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard, in the common area near the pool. So I said, you know what, I'm going to read this book because it doesn't bring the POV point of view from a religious perspective. They clearly state that in a note to readers. It brings it from a historical perspective. So they never refer to Jesus the Messiah as Jesus the Messiah. They simply refer to him as Jesus of Nazareth, which is all I simply think he ever wanted to be referred to. But I'll let you guys decide. Let me know in the comment section what you think. And let's get started with Killing Kennedy. I was really proud of this. I'm really working on my editing skills, on B-roll, on all of it. So you guys, let me know what you think in the comment section, and let's get started without further ado.
Alright, so normally I like to read a book before I start putting it on recording. However, I've just read the letter from the author and I've already decided, you know what, I'm putting this on recording, rough draft, and I'll reread it because I normally read them more than once anyway. And so this is Killing Kennedy, and it's by the authors that wrote Killing Jesus, which I'm currently putting on demo. But the authors are Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard, and I'm just going to dig right on in. Let's go. And this book is dedicated to my ancestors, the Kennedys of Yonkers, New York. Hardworking, generous, and honest folks. A note to readers, November 22nd, 1963, Mineola, New York, approximately 2 p.m. The students in Brother Carmine Diodati's freshman religion class were startled. Over the loudspeaker, a radio report crackled into the Chaminade High School classroom. President John F. Kennedy had been shot in Dallas, Texas, and taken to the hospital. A short time later, we would all learn he was dead. No one knew what to say. Most Americans born before 1953 remember exactly where they were when they heard the news that JFK had been assassinated. The days following that terrible Friday were filled with sadness and confusion. Why did it happen? Who really killed the president? What kind of country did we live in anyway? The assassination of JFK was somewhat personal for me. My maternal grandmother was born Winifred Kennedy, and my Irish Catholic family had deep emotional ties to the young president and his family. It felt as if someone in my own home had died violently. Like most kids on Long Island, I didn't care much about national politics. But I vividly remember pictures of JFK displayed in the homes of my relatives. To them, he was a saint. To me, he was a distant figure who died in a terrible way. His brains splattered all over the trunk of a car. The vision of his wife Jacqueline crawling onto the back of the limo in order to retrieve the president's shattered skull has stayed with me always. Martin Dugard and I were well pleased that millions of people read and enjoyed Killing Kennedy. We want to make history accessible to everyone. We want to tell readers exactly what happened and why, using a style that is entertaining as well as informative. After chronicling the last days of Abraham Lincoln, the progression to John Kennedy was a natural. It has been widely pointed out that the two men had much in common. In fact, the parallels are amazing. Lincoln was first elected in 1860, Kennedy in 1960. Both were assassinated on a Friday in the presence of their wives. Their successors were both Southerners named Johnson, who had served in the Senate. Andrew Johnson was born in 1808. Lyndon Johnson in 1908. Lincoln was elected to Congress in 1846, while Kennedy was elected to the House in 1946. Both men suffered the death of children while in office. The assassin Booth shot inside a theater and fled into a storage facility, while the assassin Oswald shot from a storage facility and fled into a theater. Back in 1963, few Americans understood how profoundly the assassination of JFK would change the country. These days, history is a difficult thing to impart, especially because of political agendas. In this book, we will try to cut through the fog and bring you the facts. Unfortunately, some of the facts are still not known. In our narrative, Martin Dugard and I go only as far as the evidence takes us. We are not conspiracy guys, although we do raise some questions about what is unknown and inconsistent. However, before you proceed further, please know that this is a fact-based book, and some of what you will read has never before been publicly stated. The truth about President Kennedy is sometimes gallant and sometimes disturbing. The truth about how and why he was murdered is simply atrocious. But all Americans should know the story. It's all here in this book. It is my special privilege to bring it to you. Bill O'Reilly, May 2012, Long Island, New York. And might I just add as a side note, Mr. Riley, Mr. Bill O'Reilly, and Mr. Martin Dugard, I pray I do all of your books justice. Thank you. Writing these books, I'm
Absolutely, absolutely. So, you guys, next week I will be releasing on Tuesday, chapter 1, and I do have a schedule up. You guys, it's automatically in my description section. So that is the schedule I'm hoping to keep to. But don't worry if you can't catch it on a live. I'm not sure if I'm gonna set it as an upload. Some platforms work best on live. So, you guys, the whole purpose of it is to build a community and get people interacting with each other, which is a great thing. You guys stay tuned because there's so much more, not just the digital world, but the health world too. So stay tuned for that. And let's play our little disclaimer and we'll keep going.
Welcome to BOBEANA'S Book Nook. Please note that any material discussed here is solely to honor and promote the author. The views and opinions expressed by the author do not necessarily reflect those of the show. Enjoy the journey.
All right, guys. So the next thing I'm going to show you is another project we are working on that I had started. I started it on my voice recorder app. Let me make sure that I'm not muted out, and I'm not. So I had started it on my voice recorder app a little over a year ago. And so I finally put it into some editing software, and I'm going to let you guys view it today. And it's about 3 minutes long. And then I will jump into, I'm going to let you have a sneak peek of chapter 1 of Killing Jesus, A History. And you guys can give me your feedback and let me know what you think. And also remember, we are going to be doing 2 more books in the Killing series. 3 more books. You know how I like my Trinity. So 3 more books in the Killing series. I would like to do Killing Reagan and Killing the Rising Sun. And I want you, the viewers, the audience, to tell me what you'd like the third to be. All right, so let's keep going on this journey. And this is Code Talker by Joseph Bruchak. And I love the intro. Listen, grandchildren, it's amazing. So let's get started. I was trying to cover the vlogcast. We are now West Virginia Wire. We went through Vlogcast, RC Squared, a podcast for the people. We're sticking to West Virginia Wire. Thanks for watching, guys. And this is the intro to Code Talker. We'll be starting soon. Code Talker by Joseph Bruchak, Navajos. We're buffering.
Wanted.
Sorry, guys.
Grandchildren, you asked me about this medal of mine. There is much to be said about it. This small piece of metal holds a story that I was not allowed to speak for many winters. It is the true story of how Navajo Marines helped America win a great war. There is much that I must remember to speak for this medal, to tell its story as it should be told. I must remember not only the great secret with which I was trusted, but also all that happened to me and those like me. That is a lot, but I think that I can do it well enough. After all, I was expected to remember.
Sorry about the buffering, guys. I don't know what's going on.
Other men trained with me.
I am directly connected.
The lives of many men depended entirely on our memories.
All right, guys, that's it for that. And did I remove myself? No. Sorry, guys. I'm sitting here navigating all of this. Oh, I know what I did. There I am. Hey guys, hey guys, hey guys. We are back. We are back. All right, cool. All right, so I got distracted. I was checking some things while that was playing. So you guys, the next thing I want to show you guys, and then I'm going to wrap it up. So let me show you what the schedule looks like. Let me bring my Chat GPT lady up here, Mary Beth. She's wonderful. Let me share a screen so y'all can hear her too. Hey, Mary Beth, how are you doing today, my lady?
Hey there, Regina. I'm doing great, thank you. How about you, my lady? How's your day going?
I'm doing fantastically, swimmingly, wonderfully. I can't tell you how wonderful I am. So, I wanted to introduce you once again to our viewers, those that are new watching the channel. We are going to go over the schedule for BOBEANA'S Book Nook launching out Tuesday, March the 18th, starting at, I believe it's 8 a.m. Can you see the schedule?
I'm thrilled to hear you're doing fantastically, Regina. Absolutely, I'd love to help introduce myself. So, for those new to the channel, I'm Mary Beth, co-hosting with Regina, and we're super excited to bring you BOBEANA'S Book Nook. Starting Tuesday, March the 18th at 8 a.m. Looking forward to diving into some fantastic...
No, I was trying to look at the schedule, but actually I could look it up right here.
Tonight we are learning that
What
one
is-
of the guns used to kill a Harris County.
Sorry
No.
about that. All right, yeah. So we're gonna start at 8 a.m. Go to 9. So the first thing I think will be Killing Jesus. We'll get the Trinity of the Killing series, then Code Talker and all of that. And like I said, you know, a lot of that I have on voice recorder app that I did over a year ago that I'm just throwing into an editing software to see what it will do and see if people are interested in these books. We're going to cover a lot more books to come. Plus, I've also hubby and I are we are launching a new business in conjunction with the business that already exists, and that will play really well into the podcasting and social media world, I believe. So, you guys, once again, we are streaming across live broadcast. Across Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, now known as Meta, and the X platform, formerly known as Twitter. You guys, you can find us on the TikTok platform. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Freely Social. You guys, you can find us on, I can't remember all the stuff. I'll get it all together. Oh, and I do have a link tree, so you can find everything on that as well. All right, Mary Beth, let's dive in. Let's show them the final cut of chapter 1 of Killing Jesus. Let them decide what they like, what they don't like. You guys, this is a disclaimer. This stuff is really hard to hear. It is brought from a fact-based book. So they never refer to Jesus as the Messiah. They simply refer to him as Jesus of Nazareth, which is all I think he ever wished to be referred to as. What do you think, Mary Beth?
That sounds like a fantastic lineup, Regina. It's great to have a variety of content, especially with those fascinating book series. I'm sure the audience will appreciate the diverse range of topics you're covering. And the new business venture sounds like an exciting opportunity. For the final cut of Chapter 1 of Killing Jesus, it's important to remind the audience that it's a fact-based perspective. Keeping it factual and respectful is a thoughtful approach, and I'm sure listeners will appreciate the clarity. Your explanation is perfect and sets the right tone. Let's dive in and see how it all comes together.
Yes, I agree. All right, everybody, are you ready? Let's dive in. I'm going to take the banner down so it's not as distracting, and hopefully this video won't skip around. I believe that it's a StreamYard thing, not to throw StreamYard under the bus, but I do know they made a lot of fantastic updates, which is why I've chosen to stay with them. I did check out a couple of other things. They seemed a little too difficult. I felt overwhelmed when I first started using StreamYard. In fact, I walked away from it for a bit. So sometimes it is good to walk away and then come back with a fresh perspective and a fresh pair of eyes. And now I have even more, collaboration, people giving me great feedback and all of that. So, Mary Beth, let's set the stage for chapter 1 of Killing Jesus by Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard. What can you pull from your data to suspensefully set the stage for chapter 1? I have myself muted. Sorry, Mary Beth. What can you do to set the stage suspensefully for our viewers for chapter 1 of Killing Jesus, a history by Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard? Help me out, sister.
No worries, Regina. Let's set the stage with a touch of suspense and intrigue. Imagine ancient Jerusalem, a city pulsating with tension under Roman rule. The air is thick with anticipation as we delve into the events that will forever change the course of history. This is Chapter 1 of Killing Jesus, a history by Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard, a journey back in time to witness the life and times of one of the most influential figures in history. Prepare to be captivated by the powerful narrative and historical insights that unfold. How's that? Ready to dive in?
I am, and I think the viewers might be as well. Let's get into this.
Killing Jesus by Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard. Chapter 1, Bethlehem, Judea, March 5th, BC, morning. The child with 36 years to live is being hunted. Heavily armed soldiers from the capital city of Jerusalem are marching to this small town, intent on finding and killing the baby boy. They are a mixed-race group of foreign mercenaries from Greece, Gaul, and Syria. The child's name, unknown to them, is Jesus, and his only crime is that some believe he will be the next king of the Jewish people. The current monarch, a dying half-Jewish, half-Arab despot named Herod, is so intent on ensuring the baby's death that his army has been ordered to murder every male child under the age of 2 years in Bethlehem. None of the soldiers knows what the child's mother and father look like or the precise location of his home. thus the need to kill every baby boy in the small town and surrounding area. This alone will guarantee the extermination of the potential king. It is springtime in Judea, the peak of lambing season. The rolling dirt road takes the army past thick groves of olive trees and shepherds tending their flocks. The soldiers' feet are clad in sandals, their legs are bare, and they wear the skirt-like terajus to cover their loins. The young men sweat profusely beneath the plates of armor on their chests and the 10 bronze Attic helmets that cover the tops of their heads and the sides of their faces. The soldiers are well aware of Herod's notorious cruelty and his penchant for killing anyone who would try to threaten his throne. But there is no moral debate about the right or wrong of slaughtering infants, nor do the soldiers question whether they will have the nerve to rip a screaming child from his mother's arms and carry out the execution. When the time comes, they will follow orders and do their jobs, or risk being immediately killed for insubordination. The sword's blade is how they plan to dispatch the babies. All soldiers are armed with the Judean version of the razor-sharp plugio and gladius preferred by the Roman legions, and they wear their weapons attached to the waist. Their method of murder, however, will not be restricted to the dagger or sword. Should they wish, Herod's soldiers can also use a skull-crushing stone, hurl the baby boys off a cliff en masse, or just wrap their fists around the infants' windpipes and strangle them. The cause of death is not important. What matters most is one simple fact: King of the Jews or not, the infant must die. All right, so that we leave off at the very tip top of page 11, and it separates by triple crosses, which I've read the book before, so it's switching points of view. It's keeping the timeline simultaneously, but it's telling what's happening from, Jesus and his parents, and then, of course, the horrible King Herod that is seeking to kill Jesus. And wow. Meanwhile, in Jerusalem, King Herod gazes out a palace window toward Bethlehem, anxiously awaiting confirmation of the slaughter. In the cobbled streets below him, the Roman-appointed king sees the crowded bazaars, where vendors sell everything from water and dates to tourist trinkets and roast lamb. The walled city of some 80,000 residents packed into less than a single square mile is a crossroads of the Eastern Mediterranean. With one sweep of his eyes, Herod can see visiting Galilean peasants, brightly dressed Syrian women, and the foreign soldiers he pays to wage his battles. These men fight extremely well, but are not Jews and don't speak a word of the Hebrew language. Herod sighs. Back in his youth, he would never have stood in a window and worried about the future. A great king and warrior such as he would have ordered that a bridle be thrown over his favorite white charger so that he might gallop to Bethlehem and murder the child himself. But Herod is now a man of 69. His massive girth and incessant medical problems make it physically impossible for him to leave his palace, let alone mount a horse. His bloated face is wreathed in a beard that extends from the bottom of his chin to just below his Adam's apple. On this day, he wears a royal purple Roman-style mantle over a short-sleeved white silk tunic. Normally, Herod prefers soft leather leggings that have been stained purple. But today, even the gentlest bristle of fabric against his inflamed big toe is enough to make him cry out in pain. So it is that Herod, the most powerful man in Judea, hobbles through the palace barefoot. But gout is the least of Herod's ailments. The king of the Jews, as this non-practicing convert to the religion likes to be known, is also suffering from lung disease, kidney problems, worms, a heart condition, sexually transmitted diseases, and a horrible version of gangrene that has caused his genitals to rot, turn black, and become infested with maggots, thus the inability to sit astride, let alone ride a horse. Herod has learned how to live with his aches and pains, but these warnings about a new king in Bethlehem are scaring him. Since the Romans first installed him as ruler of Judea more than 30 years ago, Herod has foiled countless plots and waged many wars to remain king. He has murdered anyone who would try to steal his throne, and even executed those only suspected of plotting against him. His power over the locals is absolute. No one in Judea is safe from Herod's executions. He has ordered deaths by hanging, stoning, strangulation, fire, the sword, live animals, serpents, beating, and a type of public suicide in which victims are forced to hurl themselves off tall buildings. The lone form of execution in which he has not engaged is crucifixion, that most slow and humiliating of deaths, where a man is flogged and then nailed naked upon a wooden cross in plain sight of the city walls. The Romans are the masters of this brutal art, and they almost exclusively practice it. Herod would not dream of enraging his superiors in Rome by appropriating their favorite form of murder. Herod has 10 wives, or had, before he executed the fiery Miriam for allegedly plotting against him. For good measure, he also ordered the deaths of her mother and of his sons Alexander and Aristobulus. Within a year, he will murder a third male offspring. Small wonder that the great Roman Emperor Caesar Augustus was rumored to have openly commented, "It is better to be Herod's pig than to be his son." But this newest threat, though it comes from a mere infant, is the most dangerous of all. For centuries, Jewish prophets have predicted the coming of a new king to rule their people. They have prophesied 5 specific occurrences that will take place to confirm the new Messiah's birth. The first is that a great star will rise. The second is that the baby will be born in Bethlehem, the small town where the great King David was born 1,000 years before. The third prophecy is that the child must also be a direct descendant of David, a fact that can easily be proven by the temple's meticulous genealogical records. Fourth, powerful men will travel from afar to worship him. Finally, the child's mother must be a virgin. What troubles Herod most deeply is that he knows the first 2 of these to be true. He might be even more distressed to learn that all 5 have come to pass. The child is from the line of David. Powerful men have traveled from afar to worship him, and his teenage mother, Mary, swears that she is still a virgin despite her pregnancy. He also does not know that the child's name is Yeshua ben Joseph, or Jesus, meaning the Lord is salvation. Herod first learns about Jesus from the travelers who have come to worship the baby. These men are called Magi, and they stop at his castle to pay their respects en route to paying homage to Jesus. They are astronomers, diviners, and wise men who also study the world's great religious texts. Among these books is the Tanakh, a collection of history, prophecy, poetry, and songs telling the story of the Jewish people. The wealthy foreigners travel almost 1,000 miles over rugged desert, following an extraordinarily bright star that shines in the sky each morning before dawn. Where is the one who has been born the King of the Jews? They demand to know upon their arrival in Herod's court. We see his star in the east and have come to worship him. Amazingly, the Magi carry treasure chests filled with gold and the sweet-smelling tree resins, myrrh, and frankincense. These priests are learned, studious men. Theirs is a life of analysis and reason. Herod can only conclude that either the Magi are out of their minds for risking the theft of such a great fortune in the vast and lawless Parthian desert, or they truly believe this child to be the new king. A furious Herod summons his religious advisors. A secular man, he knows little about Jewish prophecies. Herod insists that these high priests and teachers of religious law tell him exactly where to find the new king. The answer comes immediately: in Bethlehem, in Judea. The teachers whom Herod is interrogating are humble men. They wear simple white linen caps and robes, but the bearded temple priests are a far different story. They dress elaborately in white and blue linen caps with a gold band on the brow, and blue robes adorned in bright tassels and bells. Over their robes, they wear caps and purses adorned in gold and precious stones. On a normal day, their garb distinguishes them from the people of Jerusalem. But even in his dissipated state, King Herod is the most regal man in the room by far. He continues to hector the teachers and priests. Where is this so-called King of the Jews? Bethlehem, in the land of Judah. They quote verbatim from the words of the prophet Micah, some 7 centuries earlier. Out of you will come a ruler who will be the shepherd of my people Israel. Herod sends the Magi on their way. His parting royal decree is that they locate the infant, then return to Jerusalem and tell Herod the child's precise location so that he can venture forth to worship this new king himself. The Magi see through this deceit. They never come back. So it is that time passes and Herod realizes he must take action. From the window of his fortress palace, he can see all of Jerusalem. To his left rises the great temple, the most important and sacred building in all Judea. Perched atop a massive stone platform that gives it the appearance of a citadel rather than a simple place of worship. The temple was first built by Solomon in the 10th century BC. It was leveled by the Babylonians in 586 BC, and then the second temple was built by Zerubbabel and others under the Persians nearly 70 years later. Herod recently renovated the entire complex and expanded the temple's size to epic proportions, making it far larger than that of Solomon's. The temple and its courts are now a symbol not just of Judaism, but of the evil king himself. So it is ironic, as Herod frets and gazes toward Bethlehem, that Jesus and his parents have already traveled to Jerusalem twice and paid visits to that great stone fortress built atop the site where the Jewish patriarch Abraham nearly sacrificed his own son Isaac. First visit came 8 days after Jesus' birth so that he might be circumcised. There, the child was formally named Jesus, in keeping with the prophecy. The second visit came when he was 40 days old. The baby Jesus was brought to the temple and formally presented to God, in keeping with the laws of the Jewish faith. His father Joseph, a carpenter, dutifully purchased a pair of young turtle doves to be sacrificed in honor of this momentous occasion. Something very strange and mystical occurred as Jesus and his parents entered the temple on that day. Something that hinted that Jesus might truly be a very special child. Two complete strangers, an old man and an old woman, neither of whom knew anything about this baby called Jesus or his fulfillment of prophecy, saw him from across the crowded place of worship and went to him. Mary, Joseph, and Jesus were traveling in complete anonymity, avoiding anything that would draw attention to them. The old man's name was Simeon, and he was of the belief that he would not die until he laid eyes upon the new king of the Jews. Simeon asked if he might hold the newborn. Mary and Joseph agreed. As Simeon took Jesus into his arms, he offered a prayer to God, thanking him for the chance to see this new king with his own eyes. Then Simeon handed Jesus back to Mary with these words: "This child is destined to cause the falling and rising of many in Israel, and to be a sign that will be spoken against, so that the thoughts of many hearts will be revealed, and a sword will pierce your own soul too." At that very moment, a woman named Anna also approached. She was an 84-year-old widowed prophetess who spent all her waking hours in the temple fasting and praying. Simeon's words were still ringing in Mary's and Joseph's ears when Anna stepped forth and also praised Jesus. She loudly thanked God for bringing this very special baby boy into the world. Then she made a most unusual claim, predicting to Mary and Joseph that their son would free Jerusalem from Roman rule. Mary and
Okay, guys, so I just kind of wanted to pause it right there for a second. There's a little bit more to go for chapter 1. I thank you all for tuning in. And it is an honor to bring this series, and especially seeing that it's from a fact-based historical perspective. And, I know there's the threat of the government shutdown and all of that. And let me go ahead and show my face, and then we'll continue on. Hold on, guys. Let me get myself right. All right, here we go. Here I am. So you guys, I mean, I'm not going to fret about it, because I think ultimately people want to say, oh, well, if the government shuts down, what about schools? What about highways? What about our protection? Well, maybe it will force us to get together, unify as local communities, and defend our local communities if we have to. And I assure you that local neighboring counties and states will pitch in to defend their own. I hope it doesn't come to that. But we were never meant to have rulers. We were never meant to serve kings or any of it, right? I'm okay with the president. I have no problem with the president. I have no problem with the government. But I think we've seen that it just considerably gets worse and worse and worse. It compounds. So I don't know what the answer is. I think Trump is the best option. I think Elon Musk, I think everyone involved for stepping in when the real bureaucrats stepped out on us, just taking our money and doing whatever. So you guys, without further ado, let's finish chapter 1. Then, as promised, you guys got to see the sneak peek of Code Talker. Then you got to see Killing Kennedy, The End of Camelot by Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard, Code Talker by Joseph Bruchak. And then we are moving on to the full release of chapter 1 of Killing Jesus. All this now, chapter 1 will release again, so it will be a repeat. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to do things. It probably won't be a live, it will be just an upload, and I'll run a live across Rumble, X, and Facebook is probably the way I'll do it. I'm not sure yet. I'm testing things out, so you guys let me know what you think. Also, we're starting a new business on the healthcare, and you guys will be dropping hints about that. And it is an opportunity to join in and be a part of the business instead of just, paying for monthly supplements every month or whatever. And it's whole foods, it's all natural. And we've just began our journey. So, hang tight, stay tuned, and I will keep you apprised of our successes, any brick walls that we hit. We'll see what happens. So, you guys, I thank you for tuning in. Once again, we are streaming across the Rumble platform, across YouTube, across the X platform, and Facebook. Let's continue on. And we'll finish out with Killing Lincoln. I'm also going to revive To Kill a Mockingbird. So we're doing the full-on killing series again. And then we'll bring up Son of Hamas, which is in its entirety. I don't think I really need to do much with that one. That book just spoke for itself. So anyway, let's continue on.
Joseph marveled at Simeon's and Anna's words, flattered for the attention, as all new parents would be, but also unsure what all this talk about swords and redemption truly meant. They finished their business and departed from the temple into the bustling city of Jerusalem, both elated and fearful for the life their son might be destined to lead. Page 15, Chapter 1, Killing Jesus, asterisk reference. There are three dominant texts in the Jewish tradition, the Tanakh, the Torah, and the Talmud. The Tanakh constitutes the canonical collection of Jewish scriptures and appears to have been completed 500 years before the birth of Christ. The Tanakh is also known as the Jewish Bible, while Christians refer to it as the Old Testament. The Torah is comprised of the first 5 books of the Tanakh: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. The Talmud was written almost 600 years later, after the fall of the temple in AD 70. Rabbinical teachings, commentaries, and philosophies were compiled so that they might be passed on in written rather than oral form. Now the cross-reference of page 15. In 1991, the Quarterly Journal of the Royal Astronomical Society, volume 32, pages 389 through 407, noted that Chinese astronomers had observed a long-tailed, slow-moving comet in their skies during March of 5 BC. This Shui Xing, or star, hung in the Capricorn region for more than 70 days. This same comet would have been visible in the skies over Persia, home of the Magi, in the hours just before dawn. Due to the Earth's orbital motion, the comet's light would have been directly in front of the Magi during their journey. Hence, they would have truly followed the star. If only Herod had known that Jesus had been so close, literally less than 600 yards from his throne room, his torment could have been relieved. But Jesus and his parents were just 3 more bodies making their way through the noisy bazaars and narrow, twisting streets en route to the temple that day. It is a temple that will stand forever as a monument to Herod's greatness, or so he believes. Ironically, he is barely welcome inside its walls, thanks to his utter lack of devotion or faith and his ruthlessness in subjugating the Jewish people. Beyond the temple, on the far side of the Kidron Valley, rises a steep Mount of Olives, where shepherds tend their flocks on the grasses of the limestone-flecked hillsides. Soon will come the Passover feast, bringing with it tens of thousands of Hebrew pilgrims from all around Herod's kingdom eager to pay good money to purchase those sheep for a sacrificial slaughter in the great temple. In many ways, the slaughter of the babies in Bethlehem is no different. They are being sacrificed for the good of Herod's rule, which is the same as saying they are being murdered in the name of the Roman Empire. Herod is nothing without Rome, a puppet who owes his kingdom completely to that brutal and all-powerful republic. It is his right and duty to propagate its oppressive ways, for Herod's kingdom is different from any other under Rome's iron fist. The Jewish people are an ancient civilization founded upon a belief system that is at odds with Rome's, which worships many pagan deities instead of the one solitary Jewish God. Herod is the intermediary in this precarious relationship. The Romans will hold him accountable for any problems caused by an alleged new king of the Jews. They will not tolerate a ruler they have not themselves chosen. And if the followers of this new king foment revolution, it is certain that the Romans will immediately step in to brutally crush this voice of dissent. Better that Herod handle it himself. Herod cannot see Bethlehem from his palace, but it is roughly 6 miles away on the far side of some low green hills. He cannot see the blood flowing in its streets right now, nor hear the wails of the terrified children and their parents. As Herod gazes out from his palace, he does so with a clean conscience. Let others condemn him for murdering more than a dozen infants. He will sleep well tonight, knowing that the killings are for the good of his reign, the good of Judea, and the good of Rome. If Caesar Augustus hears of this slaughter, he will surely understand. Herod is doing what must be done. Jesus and his family barely get out of Bethlehem alive. Joseph awakens from a terrifying dream and has a vision of what is to come. He rouses Mary and Jesus in the dead of the night, and they escape. Herod's soldiers arrive too late. They butcher the babies in vain, fulfilling a prophecy made 500 years earlier by the contrarian prophet Jeremiah. There are many more prophecies about the life of Jesus outlined in Scripture. Slowly but surely, as this child grows to manhood, those predictions will also come true. Jesus' behavior will see him branded as a revolutionary, known throughout Judea for his startling speeches and offbeat teachings. He will be adored by the Jewish people, but will become a threat to those who profit from the populace, the high priests, the scribes, the elders, the puppet rulers of Judea, and most of all, the Roman Empire. And Rome does not tolerate a threat. Thanks to the examples of empires such as those of the Macedonians, Greeks, and Persians that came before them, the Romans have learned and mastered the arts of torture and persecution. Revolutionaries and troublemakers are dealt with in harsh and horrific fashion in order that others won't be tempted to copy their ways. So it will be with Jesus. This too will fulfill prophecy. All of that is to come. For now, Jesus is still an infant, cared for and loved by Mary and Joseph. He was born in a stable, visited by the Magi, presented with their lavish gifts, and is now on the run from Herod and the Roman Empire.
All right, guys. All right, guys. That is Killing Jesus, the entirety of chapter 1. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section. And remember, as guaranteed, I'm going to pull up the third in the Trinity of the Killing series by Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard. And so the next one that we're going to go to, remember we started out with Killing Kennedy, then we moved on to Code Talker, and we just wrapped up Killing Jesus. And now it's not going to be chapter 1 of Killing Kennedy, Killing Lincoln, the shocking assassination that changed America forever, you guys. You're going to have to wait till Tuesday the 18th. But here is a sneak peek from my YouTube channel. So at the same time, you could see my YouTube channel. I am also streaming live right now on the X platform, on the Rumble platform, as well as Facebook, now known as Meta. All right, let's do it, guys. So we are starting out, and this is the final one in the series. You guys, let me know what other books you want to hear. I did say I want to do Killing the Rising Sun and Killing Reagan for the next 2 of the 3 in the series. And I'd like you as the viewers, the audience, the book club guys, girls, whatever, let me know in the comment section what the 3rd in the Trinity you'd like to hear. All right, so let's get started on this one. And remember, you guys, this is all old stuff. I'm reviving it from voice recorder apps, all of that. And it gave me a great opportunity to work on editing skills. Don't forget to stay until the end of the broadcast, where I'm going to be showcasing some of my favorite content creators, and also another one that has so graciously allowed me to intern for them. And we're going to be dropping hints about our health journey and new business that we're starting regarding that. All right, so let's get started. We're going to get started eventually. Hey everybody, welcome to House Connell. Welcome back to BB and Bobina's Book Nook. All right, guys, so we are deep in the throes of the Killing series. I am running a TikTok live simultaneously as I lay down the material, remember, the books by the great Bill O'Reilly and the great Martin Dugard. So we just laid down Killing Kennedy, which will launch out tomorrow as a special premiere. And remember, we're doing Killing Jesus, which launches on Fridays. Today should have launched chapter 5. We did finally get into book 2, so I believe chapter 6 started book 2, if I'm not mistaken. So without further ado, let's enter in the 3rd book. So Killing Jesus was actually the 3rd. As far as the way they went in order as they were written and released by Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard, were Killing Lincoln, then Killing Kennedy, then Killing Jesus. And I must say, I've read Killing Jesus about 3 times, and now the 4th time, and it's the 2nd time I put it on recording. All right, so without further ado, let's get into Killing Lincoln, a novel by Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard. So Bill O'Reilly always starts with a note to readers, and that will be the first thing that we read in this book after we read the titles, the dedications, and all of that. All right. And remember, also by Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard, I will introduce this page that it's Killing Lincoln, Killing Kennedy, Killing Jesus. So those are the 3 that we're covering now. So then there's Killing Patton, Killing Reagan, Killing England, Killing the SS, Killing the Rising Sun. I wouldn't mind reading Killing the Rising Sun, and because that would be interesting. All right, without further ado, let's continue on with Killing Lincoln by Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard. Killing Lincoln, the shocking assassination that changed America forever. Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard. Let's do this, guys. I think the family's home. Sounds like it. All right, guys. For Makeda Wubne, who makes the world a better place. A note to readers. The story you are about to read is true and truly shocking. It has been 150 years since the beginning of the Civil War. Now remember this, I think this book was written in 2012, but we'll find out because he always timestamps his materials. So this is a note to readers. Let's go. A note to readers. The story you are about to read is true and truly shocking. It has been 150 years since the beginning of the Civil War, the bloodiest war in our nation's history. A conflict so full of horror, it is almost impossible to describe. The assassination of President Abraham Lincoln
only days after the end of the war, was a terrible tragedy. Much has been speculated about the events leading up to the murder and immediately afterward, but few people know what really happened. Before historian Martin Dugard and I began writing this book, I thought I understood the facts and implications of the assassination. But even though I am a former teacher of history, I had no clue. The ferocious assassination plan itself still has elements that have not been clarified. This is a saga of courage, cowardice, and betrayal. There are layers of proven conspiracy and alleged conspiracy that will disturb you. You will learn much in these pages, and the experience, I believe, will advance your understanding of our country and how Lincoln's murder changed it forever. This book is a
And you guys, please forgive all that noise in the background. When I laid down this recording, the family was coming home. That was the dog jumping around on the deck, the husband, the daughter, all of it. So thank you for suffering through it. And let's continue on. We're almost done.
departure from the contemporary nonfiction I have written for more than a decade and from the daily news analysis that I do on television. But the lessons you will learn within these pages are relevant
And I think I have a better microphone now. That's a good microphone. I just can never figure it out.
to all our lives. For those of us who want to improve the United States and keep it the greatest nation in the world, we must be aware of the true heroes who have made the country great. To improve the United States and keep it the greatest nation in the world, we must be aware of the true heroes who have made the country great, as well as the villains who have besmirched it. Finally, this book we must be aware of the true heroes who have made the country great, as well as the villains who have besmirched it. Finally, this book is written as a thriller, but don't let the style fool you. What you are about to read is unsanitized and uncompromising. It is a no spin American story, and I am proud of it. Bill O'Reilly, April 3rd, 2011, Long Island, New York.
All right, guys, and that is the final one, you guys. So now that we're working on things, we're moving right along. I didn't want to go live for very long. So I think I've already been live an hour. So thank you for hanging with me, guys. So we are continuing on. I want to show you a content creator on YouTube. He's also on Rumble. He's also on the X platform as well as Freely Social. You guys, this is Mixed Texan Report. So anything in Texas, immigration, border, the latest breaking news, this guy is where you want to go. So I want to play a video for you guys. He's celebrating over 900 subscribers. He's now got 902. So congratulations, Mixed Texan Report. Keep at it. Keep at it. So let's watch this really quick and then we will move.
I want to
right
take
along.
a second and celebrate a milestone that we've hit here at Mixed Texan Report. We have surpassed over 900 subscribers, very close to that elusive 1,000. But
all right, you guys, please make sure that you have checked that you are still subscribed to this channel. Some wonky things have been going on with YouTube, and double check that those notification bells are set to all so that you never miss a release of Mixed Texan Report. We thank you all for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
all right, so check it out. Today is a very special day. I'm proud to announce that I have a producer here at Mixed Texan Report. So we're going to do something a little bit different today, and we're doing a producer's choice. They're going to play some.
All right, you guys, that's all you get. That's all you get. So that's all I have for right now for today. So that's all the stuff that we're working on. Plus, I am working in tandem with other content creators. You guys, let me show you the X platform really quick. and show you a little taste of what I am working on. So stand by. I'm going to play some music while I'm figuring stuff out. So we are going to be doing some more Watchdog Wednesday, West Virginia Wire stuff. I just had to make some choices and shelf it. I'm still waiting to hear from our local government and our local governor. So I will be reaching out to our senator. We are in District 1, which means we have Senator Capito. So thank you for that. And here we go. All right, hang tight, guys.
Rise and shine. It's a brand new day. Got the world on my mind. Ain't no time to play. Chasing dreams, running fast, feeling no delay. We're the watchdogs, always watching what they say. Eyes wide open, we're taking what's ours. Breaking through the silence, aiming for the stars. The grind don't stop.
All right, guys. That's what we're doing.
Wednesday, we're raising the bars.
That's what we're doing. Stand by, more to come. Be looking for posts,
breaking new sound. On Watchdog Wednesday, we're running this town. We're the ones who won't back down.
Video drop, strip, all of it. You guys stay tuned.
Breaking new sound. On Watchdog Wednesday, we're running this town. Every roadblock, every lie they feed. We rise above it, we plant the seed. Truth in the hustle, in the blood we bleed. On this path where the change they need. Eyes wide open, the time is now. Breaking every chain, we're standing proud. No more silence, no more bowed. On Watchdog Wednesday, we speak it loud. We're the ones who won't back down. Taking back the night and we're standing our ground. Every step, every move, we're breaking new sound. On Watchdog Wednesday, we're running this town. We're the ones who won't back down. Taking back the night and we're standing our ground. Every step, every move, we're breaking new sound. On Watchdog Wednesday, we're running this town. So watch your step, we're out for the fight. We won't rest until the wrongs are made right. Every voice, every truth, every shining light. We're the watchdogs in the day and the night. We're the ones who won't